I'm going to take two completely unrelated British institutions and force them into a relationship that neither of them consented to. Today it's W.H. Smith's and the Cheque. Two great British icons, both beloved, both essential, both currently doing their best impression of a fax machine at a rave. Technically still plugged in, but nobody is quite sure why. So here's the exercise. I want you to ask yourself two questions and be honest, this is a safe space. The first question is, when did you last go into a W.H. Smith's? And the second question is, when did you last write a cheque? If you answered either of these questions with this week, I'd like to speak to you because I think you might be a ghost, or my nan, or possibly both. But let's start with W.H. Smith's. Founded in 1792, 133 years old, older than the bicycle, older than the tin can, older than most of the stock sitting in a W.H. Smith calendar aisle in July. W.H. Smith's began life as an actual newsagent. It was genuinely innovative in its day. It was the first to put a newsstand inside a railway station back in 1848. They were visionaries, absolute pioneers of people who are trapped here and bored, so let's sell them something. And then somewhere between 1848 and 2025, the store's entire personality became stationery that nobody asked for, 3 magazines about canals, a Toys R Us concession, and bafflingly, a post office counter. All sold to you under fluorescent lighting so aggressive it would win a war. Now, diversification is normally a virtue. W.H. Smith diversified into books, music, toys, cards, stationery, travel. The problem, and genuine retail analysts have said this, and it's not just me being catty, it's that everything it diversified into, somebody else did better and cheaper right next door. It wasn't a destination. It was a waiting room that also sold Pritt sticks. And so this year, after 233 years, W.H. Smith sold off 480 of its high street stores in the UK for £76 million. And they sold it to a company that owns Hobbycraft, who are now rebranding them as T.G. Jones. Not T.G. Jones, the beloved family grocer of legends, just T.G. Jones, a name that sounds like it was generated by an insurance chatbot. Meanwhile, the actual profitable bit of W.H. Smith, the travel shops in airports and train stations, the ones that sell you a £4 bottle of water and a Toblerone the length of a canoe, that bit's staying because that bit is thriving, because that bit has a captive audience with nowhere else to go, which is incidentally the only business model the British High Street has left. Trap them and then charge them. Now cheques. According to the payments data that we carry on Payments Unpacked, and I promise you that data about UK payments infrastructure is far more entertaining than it sounds. The UK's cheque system currently accounts for about 0.4% of the daily volume moving through the UK settlement systems. 0.4%. Link, the cash machine network, only just beats it, and even cash machines are basically history's most expensive vending machine at this point. Now let's put that into context. CHAPS and the Security Settlement System CREST, between them shift about 98.5% of the nearly £750 billion that move every day through the UK's payments infrastructure. Cheques are down there in the sock drawer, with 2p pieces and the Blockbuster card. And yet somehow cheques refuse to actually die. Somebody somewhere right now this second is rooting around a drawer for their chequebook to pay their window cleaner. It's the retail payments equivalent of W.H. Smith's high street store. Nobody visits, but everyone insists it must stay open. Now here's where it gets properly interesting. The Bank of England, via the Retail Payments Infrastructure Board, is currently consulting on the design of a brand new payments infrastructure for Britain. This is a genuinely once-in-a-generation rebuild of the plumbing, and buried in that consultation, and I want you to picture this being punctuated with an exclamation mark in the actual document. But buried in the document is a note that the new infrastructure scope includes, quote, cheques. That imaginary exclamation mark is doing a lot of work. That exclamation mark is an equivalent of a regulator going, yeah, I know, but don't at me. Because here is the W.H. Smith lesson, and it's the whole point of today's episode. Keeping a declining, low usage, high cost legacy channel bolted onto your shiny new operation because a small number of people still nostalgically use it does not save the channel. It just drags down the shiny new operation. WH Smith kept every diversification going long after the reason for it disappeared, and it ended up being a beige museum of unrelated products that nobody came in for. If you build Britain's next generation payments architecture and staple a slowly dying paper cheque process to the side of it, just in case, congratulations, you will have built the TG Jones. You've built a rebrand nobody wanted of a thing whose moment is past. So the actual ask, if you're the sort of person who reads Bank of England consultation documents for fun, and if you are, please seek support, but also please respond. My ask is, challenge the inclusion of cheques within the scope of the new retail payments infrastructure. Let the interbank rails of tomorrow be built for tomorrow. Let cheques wind down on their own terms, supported properly for the people who still need them, but not treated as a foundation pillar of a system built to last for the next 30 years. Because otherwise, in 2050, some podcaster is going to ask their audience, when did you last write a cheque? They get silence and realise that Britain built an entire national payment system with a chequebook still rattling around in the drawer. That's the show. Go outside, maybe post something, but please, not a cheque.